On a fog-wrapped mountain above Medellin, there was once a prison with a football pitch, a bar, a jacuzzi, and a waterfall. The man locked inside had chosen the guards himself. He had a telescope on the wall so he could watch his family's apartment across the city while he spoke to them on the phone. And whenever the truth came too close, he simply walked out. This was the only prison in history designed by the prisoner, for the prisoner. They called it La Catedral. To understand how a government came to build a criminal his own private fortress and call it a jail, you have to go back, the Sankofa way, to the one thing the richest outlaw on earth was truly afraid of. By 1991, Pablo Escobar was one of the wealthiest men alive, the head of the Medellin cartel, and the author of a war that had drenched Colombia in blood. Car bombs, assassinated judges, a murdered presidential candidate, an airliner blown out of the sky. He could buy almost anyone and kill almost anyone. But there was one fate his money could not reach, and it terrified him: extradition to the United States. In an American cell, his fortune meant nothing. No guards to bribe, no judges to threaten, no tunnels to dig. His people put it plainly: better a grave in Colombia than a cell in the United States. So he did not try to escape the law. He set out to rewrite it. In 1991, as Colombia gathered an assembly to draft a new constitution, a clause appeared that banned the extradition of Colombian citizens, and it is widely believed the cartel's money and menace helped put it there. The single thing Escobar feared most was now, conveniently, illegal, and with that door bolted shut, he offered the government a deal it felt too weak to refuse. In June 1991, Pablo Escobar surrendered, on his own terms. A sentence of no more than 5 years. No extradition, ever. And imprisonment not in a state jail, but in a place of his own choosing, built to his own design. The government, exhausted by years of terror, said yes. The place he chose sat on a hillside above his hometown of Envigado, on land his men controlled. Officially, it was a prison. Everyone else called it Hotel Escobar. Behind its fences were the football pitch and the bar, the jacuzzi and the waterfall, a disco for parties, an industrial kitchen serving food flown in for the occasion. The guards were his own men, loyal to him and not the state. And by the terms of his surrender, the army was forbidden from coming within kilometers of the walls, so that the one man they were meant to be holding was, in truth, the safest man in Colombia. From inside, with telephones and messengers, he simply kept running the cartel. Hundreds of unauthorized visitors came and went. The prisoner was still the king. The prison was just his newest palace. But power like that has no brakes. And in July 1992, it turned inward. Two of Escobar's own associates, men who had kept his empire running while he was inside, named Galliano and Moncada, fell into a dispute with him over money. He summoned them to La Catedral. They came because you did not refuse. And inside the walls of the government's own prison, Pablo Escobar had them killed. That was the mistake that broke the spell. It was one thing for the state to look the other way while a prisoner lived in luxury. It was another for the world to learn he was now murdering people inside a jail the government was supposedly running. The fiction collapsed. Humiliated, the authorities decided to do the thing they had been too frightened to do a year earlier: move Escobar to a real military prison. On the 22nd of July 1992, they sent officials up the mountain to oversee the transfer, among them a deputy justice minister, backed by hundreds of soldiers. It went wrong almost at once. Warned that the army was coming, Escobar seized the officials who had walked in to move him and turned the handover into a hostage standoff. For hours, the mountain dissolved into confusion. Troops on one side, the cartel's guns on the other, ministers held in the middle. And somewhere in that long, foggy night, while 600 soldiers stood around the prison they could not enter, Pablo Escobar and a handful of his men slipped out the back and walked into the forest. He had served barely 13 months of a 5-year sentence in a prison he had built to walk out of. He would never be caught alive again. His escape triggered a 16-month manhunt that pulled in a special police unit, foreign agents, and a shadow war waged by his enemies against everyone he loved. It ended on the 2nd of December 1993 on the terracotta rooftops of a Medellin neighborhood where Pablo Escobar was shot dead as he ran, one day after his 44th birthday. La Catedral was left to the fog. In time, monks would turn part of it into a home for the elderly. The football pitch went quiet, the jacuzzi cracked and filled with rain. But the lesson of that place did not die with the man. Because La Catedral was never really about one criminal's vanity. It was what happened when a state grew so afraid of a single man that it let him write his own sentence, choose his own jailers, and draw the walls of his own cage. A prison is a society's way of saying no one is above the law. La Catedral was the opposite confession, a mountaintop monument to the moment a country admitted that someone was. And the deepest danger it revealed is the one that outlives every cartel, that the powerful, if we let them, will not break the rules so much as rebuild them until the cage and the throne are the very same room. This was the story of La Catedral, told the Sankofa way. Go back and get it. If it moved you, tell us in the comments whose story we should tell next. Until then, stay upright.